Okay, well, if everybody found their awesome position, then gently start to close the eyes, becoming aware of your breath, but remembering that there's no need to change it just yet. Just observing, trying to see whether our breath is deep or shallow. Remembering that all that is right now is perfect. Whether your breath is deep or shallow needs no commentary, needs no any way of judging. And then try to see whether the breath goes deep into the belly or remains high up in the chest. Whether the breath is short or long. And just noticing both the breath, the emotions, but also the thoughts that are maybe recurring or running through your head. And notice that there is no need for you to engage with them, but just try to see if you can watch them like an observer, like an explorer, just seeing what's there. And gently scanning through the body, trying now to see if we can let go of some of the tension as we consider our forehead, space in between our brows, the eyes, the jaw and the mouth. Noticing the neck and the throat. Noticing your shoulders, your upper arms, lower arms, your hands and your fingers. Noticing your upper back, your chest, the middle of your back, and your upper belly, and your lower back and lower belly. Breathing into your pelvic and hip region. Seeing if you can let go of any tension there. But also remembering that if it doesn't work, then that's fine too. Any tension in the upper legs, lower legs, your feet and your toes. And now try to see if there's still any part in the body that needs a little extra attention. Try not to get frustrated or too engaged. Just try to sit next to that particular spot of your body. Give it some much deserved time. Trying to breathe into that area. Creating space, and if at all possible, releasing some of the tension. Now, with each inhale, try to see if you can breathe towards your lower belly. And if this is hard today, then just place your left hand on your lower belly, giving your mind and your breath an aim. Trying to make each inhale just a little bit deeper. And trying to make each exhale just a little bit longer. And if it's possible, see if you can breathe through your nose. And while you're consciously breathing in and out, try to envision a donut around your waist or around your lower belly, actually. And as you breathe into your lower belly, try to see if you can expand that entire donut, filling up your lower belly, but also your sides and your lower back area. See if you can expand all that when you inhale, and letting go on the exhale. And let's breathe together for 3 more breaths. Breathing in deeply and breathing out, sighing out the entire day. Breathing in and sighing. One more time. And as you feel ready, maybe gently rubbing the face, your jaw, and your eyes, and opening the eyes when you feel ready. Awesome. Well, our first pose is going to be a little bit active, as we're going to come into a dangling pose. This time I didn't ask you guys to grab a chair, and I want to see how that goes. So if it's at some point you notice that you really need a chair, then please grab a chair. But for now, we're just going to stand up. And when we're there, we're just going to keep the feet about hip width apart. And then as you exhale, folding forward, and then grabbing the opposite elbow. Letting the head really extend towards the floor. And feeling the lengthening in your lower back area. And also the stretch on the back of your legs. If it feels more comfortable to you, it's also fine to let the arms just dangle, maybe touching the floor. Try to let go of that neck area, that your shoulder area, not holding there. And then I want to invite you to find your breath and then start to make deep, buoyant breaths towards your lower back, your lower abdomen, but also your lower back area. And as you inhale, try to feel what happens. Where can you feel that expansion? And as you exhale, try to see where you can feel that contraction. What changes? What are the sensations? Now try to see if you can shift some of your weight towards the front of your foot, bringing a little more weight in your toes, especially if you're really sinking back. And try to see what happens there. Maybe you notice that the back of your feet or the back of your legs are now stretching more. Don't worry, we're not going to hold it too long. Just take a couple more deep breaths in. On the inhale, try to lengthen the back. And on the exhale, I want to invite you to bring the feet a little wider apart. Point the toes slightly outward as we're going to come in to a squat position. If you need some books or anything else to set your heels on, then please use those. Bringing the upper arms into the upper thighs and bringing the thighs into the upper arms. I should try to find your breath once more. And see if you can close the eyes to internalize this practice and notice what's going on inside of you. Feeling the expansion of the breath on the inhale and the contraction of the breath on the exhale. Are there any particular thoughts that come up in this pose? Any particular feelings? Are you okay with being grounded in your breath, or is it hard to breathe in this pose? On the next exhale, swimming the arms behind you and sitting down on your buttocks. Awesome. And coming with the legs into a butterfly position. So bringing the soles of the feet together and seeing where it feels comfortable for you today. Or maybe a little bit closer, maybe a little further away. Just try to see what your hips are telling you, how it feels. And then inhaling, straightening the back. And exhaling, folding forward. If it's hard for you to straighten the back in this first position, then please sit up on something. So see if your back is already rounding when you try to sit up, and if that happens, just sit up on a pillow. And then exhaling, folding forward. Inhaling once more, feeling the extension of that back. And then as you exhale, rounding the back to let the top of the head point towards the soles of the feet. Letting everything relax. And as you fold forward, you can let the elbows just dangle in front of your shins. No need to hold anything there. Feeling the opening of the hips as you gently come back to your breath. Trying to inhale and exhale slowly and deeply. And this is one of the first poses that we're going to hold for about 5 minutes. If anything starts to feel uncomfortable, then try to return a little to a more straightened position. And remember that as we're doing yin poses, we're doing yin yoga, you never want to go beyond your 80%. We don't want to feel any pain, and we're not forcing ourselves in any way. If you notice any pain in your groin area, then please make use of pillows underneath your knees so you can let go of the tension in your groin. And remember that that's no show of weakness. I'm actually very proud when you take care of yourself. In this position, you want to feel the stretch in your lower back, and you want to feel the hips and the groin area opening up. If any other parts start speaking to you, then try to adjust with pillows, giving yourself a little support. And if today it's hard to let go of the thoughts, and maybe use the word in on the inhale and the word out on the exhale as you follow your in and your out breath. Noticing how the breath travels up and down your spine. As you breathe into your lower belly. Listening to the sound of your breath. Becoming aware of these sensations on the in and the exhale. And on the next inhale, using your inhale to come up vertebrae by vertebrae. Using your hands to bring your legs together. And maybe shake them out a little bit. Tapping them on the floor. And you moving a little left to right. Awesome. I want to ask you to take 2 of your big books or your blocks. And placing them so you can be in a fish pose. But this time we're going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to bring the feet together as we just did in the butterfly position. And then we're going to lie back to put that first block or the first book at the height of your bra strap. Yeah, guys, we're there. And then as you breathe out, laying down, noticing that the book or the block is where your spine is and it's in the middle. And then your head is going to land on that second book, trying to keep the legs closed. And again, if this doesn't feel right or you need some support, please use some pillows. And if it doesn't feel right after, you can also bring the knees together, making it a little bit different, adjusting it to what you need today. And then, as always, try to find your breath once more. Noticing how the breath differs from one pose to the next, and how it's easier for you to breathe in one pose and then a little bit harder in another pose. But see if you can always try to breathe towards that lower belly area. You can place your hands either on your belly or in your groin area, or you can just lay them out like you would in Shavasana in a 45-degree angle away from the body, palms facing up. See what works for you today, right now, right here. If at some point you feel like you could use a little more of the stretching of the upper back and the fish pose, so to say, you can gently circle your arms up. If you were in a 45-degree angle, so to Shavasana arms, then you can circle them up until it feels like you're where you want to be. This deepens the stretch a little, but again, please be gentle. You keep breathing towards that lower belly area. Maybe noticing the sound of your own breath. Like an ocean coming in and going out. You can even decide to restrict the airflow just a little in the back of your throat, creating a little sound. Mind though that that little restriction in the back of your throat should never feel painful or like it's irritating you when you're probably not doing it right, and we will go over it after class. Try to breathe towards the areas that feel tight, creating a little space on the inhale. And trying to let go of any tension or any stress as you exhale. And again, if your mind is trying to distract you, or a lot of thoughts are coming up, just let them know that it's not the time and they can wait. And then bring your attention back to your breath, trying to ground yourself in your body. And be extra loving and kind. For one, you notice that you got distracted. And two, apparently there's a lot going on. So give yourself a little break. As you breathe towards your lower belly, try to see if you can feel that breath traveling down your spine as you inhale, traveling up as you exhale. And if there are any noises that are distracting you, any sensations or any thoughts, just gently bring yourself back to your breath. As you keep inhaling and exhaling. On the next inhale, bring your knees together. And on the exhale, roll yourself towards your right side, gently coming off the blocks. And just use your right forearm to lay your head on. And remain there. Try to keep the eyes closed if you can. Try to feel what has just happened and how it feels that you shifted to this position. And then when you feel ready, take the blocks away and roll back onto your back. Where we're just gonna feel what happened in the previous pose for a couple of breath cycles. Coming into Shavasana, extending the legs outward, letting the toes fall to the sides, and letting the arms be in a 45-degree angle away, not really touching anything. So if there are any props, and let the palms face up towards the ceiling. Noticing the difference. Noticing how your back is more flush with the mat. Noticing how it's supported by the mat. What do you feel? What is different? How does it feel? Without any judgment, just noticing. And roll onto your left side. Again, using your forearm to place your head on. And take a couple of breaths here. Using your right hand to push yourself up towards a seated position. As you extend the legs outward, letting the toes point up towards the sky. And now here comes a little decision for you to make. See how it feels today. Does it feel good to bring the legs together, or does it feel better to keep them slightly apart, maybe hip width apart, or maybe just a little wider, whatever feels good to you today. And then take away the extra flesh. So your sits bones are firmly grounded onto the floor. And if you notice that your lower back is already rounding here, then please sit up on a little pillow. Making sure that the pelvis can now tilt forward. Yeah, great. And that's really noticing how that pelvis tilts forward so that you can straighten that lower back. And on the inhale, we're going to let the arms come up alongside the ears all the way up into the sky. And as you breathe out, we're going to fold from the hips. Just fold forward, keeping the awareness in the legs as we keep the toes pointed upward. And we're just letting go here. No need to pull, no need to hold the toes. Just letting the arms hang. Just letting the entire torso be guided by gravity as we just focus on our in and exhale. Noticing how the belly expands towards the upper legs. How the legs are pushing back. And maybe you're thinking, Michelle, what are you talking about? I just feel the back of my legs. And then that's fine too. Some of you might also notice your lower back, which is stretching in this pose. That's perfectly fine too. This pose really shows which areas are tighter as we stretch the entire back of the body. So the back of your legs, the back of your upper body, your torso, and everything gets stretched. Similar to how we did that in dangling pose. Only in this pose it's a little gentler. Gentler. Not sure that's a word. Noticing how the thighs and the belly might be touching. Noticing the points of contact on the floor. Your heels, your calves, maybe your thighs, your sit bones, maybe your hands or even your forearms. And remember that some days are easier than others. Especially in this pose, it usually becomes apparent that one day it feels like you can fold like a little pretzel all the way down. And other days it's a little tighter. And there's no good or bad. There's just what is. And we can only notice, so we can take it into account and be kind to our own body. Maybe today was hard, or you have been spending quite a lot of time behind a computer. And everything your mind and your body wants to do is to just let go of the day, let go of the worries of the future, letting go of the to-do lists and all the regrets from the past. Just for this class, we have no space for them. And we let them go as easily as they come into our minds. And if for any reason we get hung up anyway, then we try to anchor back into our breath, into our body. Coming back to the stretching of the lower back and the back of the legs. Next inhale, come up vertebrae by vertebrae. Be really gentle today. Take a couple of breaths when your spine is fully erect to just feel the energy and the blood sort of run back to your pelvis. Awesome. Then we have one person who already knows this pose, but for everybody else, this is probably a new pose. So what we're going to do is we're going to come into deer pose. I want you to bring your legs into half a lotus or whatever works for you. It doesn't necessarily have to be a lotus, but we're folding them. Now, once you're there, we're just going to take the left leg and fold it out towards the side. And we're going to try to see if we can get this. I'm actually facing the long edge of my mat, so what we want to try and do is see if we can get that left leg, so the left lower leg, parallel with the side of the mat. And then get a little awareness in that left foot so that it's sort of in a 90-degree angle with the shin. See if that works. And now the hard part comes. So I think the person who already knew is already sitting up on a pillow, but you might want to grab a pillow too, as we want to try and see if we can even out the weight between the left and the right buttocks, so the left and the right sits bones. That's basically what we're aiming for, and you're going to feel that stretch on the inside of that left leg. Everybody okay with that? Or we need some adjustments? Okay, great. And then try to breathe into that left hip area, that left groin area, that thigh muscle. So we're just going to be here a little bit, and then we're going to have some fun with this pose. See if you can close your eyes again as you breathe into that lower belly area. Maybe your mind or your body is protesting at this point. Just want you to remember that we don't want to feel any pain, and especially not in the knees. So if there are any knees that are protesting, then please either prop yourself up onto more pillows or try to adjust the pose so it works for you. And if you need any help with that, just wave. We'll figure it out. Awesome. Keep breathing. Keep connecting to any sensations. Try to see if you're holding any tension in your shoulders. See if you can use the next out breath to let go of that tension or any tension in your jaw. And the next exhale, fold over your right knee. So using that exhale to come down, maybe on your forearms. Stay on your forearms for today. We'll figure out a different way next time. And try to see what happens if you breathe there. Noticing the belly expanding onto the thigh, maybe even onto the shin. And noticing the pressure of that leg pressing back onto your belly. Maybe this feels more relaxed than how we were just seated. And if that's so, try to feel what happens in your leg or anywhere else where you can feel that release. Or maybe you notice a little bit more of a compression somewhere. That's fine too. As you keep breathing in and out towards your lower belly. And if there are any sounds or any other distractions, just gently coming back to your breath. Using the next inhale to come up to your hands, and then moving to the middle of your body. So as we were just seated, we're now gonna move our hands there. And then on the exhale, we're just gonna come onto our forearms once more. Or if that's too much, you're just gonna stay on the hands. And that's fine too. Noticing how this differs the entire pose. Noticing anything that comes up. And again, we're breathing into our lower belly, becoming aware of the sensations on the inhale and on the exhale. Try to see if you can feel what changed from the previous position we were in. Maybe you can feel a little bit more of a stretch in that left groin, that left inner thigh, or maybe a little more of a stretch in the right side of your lower back. Just try to scan the body, see what's going on. And if you easily get distracted, try and use the little mantras in and out, your inhale and your exhale. Using the next inhale to come onto your hands again. As we shift even further towards the left, see how far you can get. And either decide to stay on your hands, or you can come onto your forearms once more. It's a little harder in this pose, to see what happens. And see what feels good for you today. And once more, try to see what changed. So we only changed our upper body, which feels like a minor change, but what is your body telling you? Again, noticing the difference in the stretch. Maybe now you also notice the compression in your left side. As we use the inhale to come up vertebrae by vertebrae, using the hands to come back up. And we're folding that left leg back towards the front. You might have guessed that we're going to do the other side this time. So now we're folding out that right leg in a similar way. Folding it out, maybe sitting up, propping yourself up on a pillow. As you notice, your pillow is shifting, so you know. And then bringing that lower leg about parallel with the back end of your mat. And again, bringing your awareness in that right foot so that it's about in a 90-degree angle with your shin. And if that's too much, then it's perfectly fine. And just bring your foot a little closer to your bum, because that makes all the difference. As we say hello to Brutus. And then we just find our breath once more. Closing the eyes if you can. And trying to feel what the difference is between the left and the right side. Is it still? No, not is it still, because it wasn't easy for me on the other side, but is it easy for you on this side to bring both of the sits bones, like bringing it to an equal pressure? Or is it harder? Also realizing that we were in the pose on the other side for quite a while, so it had some time to open up. So we're being gentle and compassionate with this side as well. So we gently let it open up. Breathing into any areas of tightness. And as we exhale, letting go, releasing some of the tension. Using our next exhale to fold over our left knee, coming onto our forearms or staying up on the hands, which is both perfectly fine. Just try to see what works for you today. And start to breathe deeply and slowly into your lower belly once again. Maybe by now you notice that your belly is rumbling or making little noises as it's starting to come into this phase of rest and digest. Feeling that breath move through us like an ocean wave coming in and going out. And remembering to release any tension in the upper back area and the shoulders. We're basically using the skeleton to hold us up and not really the muscles. And as you breathe in, you might notice how your belly is expanding onto your left leg. How your left leg is pushing back. How does that feel when you look at it from your belly perspective? And how does it feel when you look at it from your legs perspective? Can you feel the difference? Using the next inhale to come up to your hands as we move over to the middle of the mat, using the exhale to fold forward again, coming on to the forearms or staying on the hands, and both are fine. Letting go of any tension in the neck area. Letting go of the tension in the shoulder area. Noticing the difference between the previous pose and this one. Breathing into the areas of tightness. If there are any distractions, coming back to our breath. Noticing the stretch of that left lower back, maybe the compression on that left hip. Noticing the stretch in that right inner thigh. And all very aware of what's going on. Using the next inhale to come up onto our hands as we move towards that right leg. And again, be gentle, see what you can do here. This is the hardest fold, at least to me, so using the exhale always to fold. Using the exhale to always come deeper into a fold. Not that we're forcing, but on the inhale, we're creating the space. And on the exhale, we naturally fold a little deeper. Keep breathing deeply towards your lower belly area. And using the next inhale to come up vertebrae by vertebrae. Using our hands to bring back our leg. Just feel it here for a couple of breaths. Placing your feet either in front of one another, coming in half lotus or full lotus, whatever feels comfortable. Just connecting to those hips, connecting to the groin area. Awesome. Then I want to invite you to come onto your back and placing the pillow underneath your bum, just a little bit, as we're going to come into an air release pose first. So as you inhale, bringing the knees up, and then as you exhale, hugging them into your chest. Keep breathing towards your lower belly, feeling where the pressure is at. Trying to feel whether it's easy to breathe here or it's hard. And try to find the sukha, the ease within the pose. On your next inhale, extending the legs towards the ceiling. And finding that sweet spot where you can just leave the legs for what they are. And you don't really have to hold your abs. You don't really have to use any muscles. Maybe you need to readjust the pillow for that a little bit, so that the pelvis is tilted slightly and the legs can just easily stay up. You can let go of your ankles, let go of your feet. No need to point or to flex your feet. And you can place your hands wherever you like, so either on the belly or next to you or on your chest, whatever feels right now. And try to breathe towards that lower belly area. Breathing in and out. Using that little mantra if that feels right. And if you get distracted for any reason, just try to notice it. Bring yourself back towards your breathing, towards your body. Maybe by now you're feeling how the blood is drained from your feet, moving towards that hip area, towards that pelvic region. As we use this pose to get rid of all the toxins in your leg, bring them to the body so they can be digested and flushed from the body. Especially a good pose for runners. Using the next exhale to gently bend your knees, and opening up the knees so you can get your hands in between and grab the feet on the outside to come into a happy baby pose. And if that's too much, then you can also just hold the insides of the knees. So coming from the outside and then grabbing the knee creases. Yeah, awesome. Either way is fine. Perfectly fine. If you're holding the full happy baby pose, try to make sure that your shoulders stay on the floor. And if that's too much, then just try to grab your feet anywhere else so your shoulders can at least relax onto the floor. As we come back to our breath, noticing the expansion of the lower belly. Maybe you also notice any stretch in your pelvic region, any stretch in your hip region, any stretch in your lower back. Just try to see and map out what's there. As we use the next exhale to let the feet drop down onto the floor with a little thumb. And we lift the hips to take that pillow away and come into Shavasana. Grabbing your blankie to cover yourself. Making sure you stay warm. Not setting your house on fire by hitting any of the candles you might be burning. And making sure that the feet can still fall out, especially when you're using a blanket. Making sure that your feet are not restricted. And getting rid of any of the props that are in your way so that you can place your hands in about a 45-degree angle away from your body. Palms facing up. Your feet are about hip distance apart, maybe a little wider. And the toes falling out. If you notice any tension in the shoulders or upper back area, then try and shuffle your shoulders down a little bit. And try to feel what has been going on in the last hour, Noticing how the body responded to all the poses. Maybe now you feel a little tingling sensation, a little warmth, or something else. Maybe a little tremor in some of your muscles. Noticing that that's all a release of any tension, a release of any stress. We're not fighting it, we're welcoming it. And using this time in Shavasana to integrate our practice into the body. As with each exhale, we feel the body sink into the mat. Noticing how we're supported and how the mat is always there to catch us. As we become aware of our breath, we gently listen to our in and out breath. As you hear the bell die out, gently start to deepen your breath and bring a little movement back into your toes and into your fingers. When you're ready, use your next inhale to stretch out the entire body, head to toe. And using the exhale to fold your knees into your chest and roll a little left to right. Rolling on to your right side and coming into a fetal position. You remain with the eyes closed and the gaze inward. Using your right arm as a pillow underneath your head. So we take a couple of breaths here to wake up the body. On your next inhale, use your left hand to push yourself up towards a seated position. Still remaining with the eyes closed and the gaze inward. As we wrap our arms around ourselves, giving ourselves a great big hug. Using the hands to stroke your upper arms, just gently. And then placing the hands in front of your heart space in Anjali Mudra, prayer position, palms facing each other. We bring our thumbs towards our forehead. And on the next exhale, we fold all the way forward until our hands reach the floor. We gently place our hands on the floor, thanking our body and thanking the earth for its support throughout our practice. Using the next inhale to come all the way back up. As I gently bow my head and whisper, Namaste.